Hello, hello, and happy Friday to you. What a treat. Fridays are supposed to be special. And this is, of course, a very special one because we are here with In the Loop. And I know you are excited to hear from Greg in just a moment. Greg has lots of fun. Actually, I think today's is a big news day. So I'm excited to see what he's going to share with us. But of course, I'm here to share with you all things business, finance. And as you know, what makes today really, really special is you're here to share in the positivity and engage with us because we are looking forward to hearing from you. So if you're joining us live right now, or if you're joining us in the replay, welcome to the show. I am Winnie Sun, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and host of Level Up with Winnie Sun, which can be found on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, to name a few. And of course, we are here live. And what a treat to be here with all of you. I don't know, Greg, it's so different, but I love it. Do you love it?
I do. It's great to be here. Hello, everybody. Hi, thanks for joining us. Friday mornings, it's always, morning here depends on where you're at, I guess. But it's always great, kind of recapping what's going on in the week. I've got some fun things that are kind of looking forward in tech to the not so distant future. I mean, maybe a few days future, but some of it's coming up. So we have a lot to talk about that we're going to be covering, but it's just always so nice to be here with you, Winnie, and then seeing everybody joining in. I'm looking at some of the comments come through. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we are live. So feel free to drop those comments in as we go through the show or questions or whatever it is you want to talk about. Let us know. We always love getting that feedback. And like I said, I've got some tech coming up. Some things I'm going to ask some questions of everybody. So I want to get some feedback on things that you may want in a new phone. So think about that. We're going to be covering that here in a little bit. But in the meantime, I know, Winnie, you've always got lots to talk about here to bring us up to date on what's going on in the world of finances and everything that's happening in that, which is always just crazy to me.
For sure, Greg. I mean, it's actually not the same without doing a segment with you because last week I know we weren't able to do it. Not the same, Greg. I don't know. Everybody's watching. I see Crosssex Fighter, Joshua. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube Live. Yoo-hoo. Yes, absolutely. Vicky Garvey joining us on Facebook Live. And wow, so many people here today. It is such a treat to be here with you. Yeah, Greg, I'm going to tee it up. But, I'm going to say this, Greg. Hold on with me to the end because I'm going to start with a little bit of, let's just say not the most pleasant news of the day, but we're going to get there. And we're going to end with Greg, which, I'm all excited. I'm excited, Greg. I'm going to see what I'm looking forward to on my next phone for sure. All right.
Yes.
So I want to start with how the market is doing currently. It hasn't closed yet. Okay, and then I'm going to tell you why the market isn't doing well. Because the market's down, Dow is down 647 points currently. The S&P right now is down 94 points. Not good. But here's the thing, my friends. The NASDAQ is down 352 points. Ouch. Ouch is right. And you might be wondering why this is occurring, right? The Wall Street is definitely experiencing sell-offs, and it's been so pretty much for the last couple hours, primarily because I've been warning you about this all week, is that all investors are really paying attention to what Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is going to say today. And he did. He actually spoke today. They're having a meeting at Jackson Hole, beautiful Jackson Hole. If you've never been there, highly recommend. I'm a big travel person. I've been there. It's one of my favorite places in the United States to travel to. Well, they're there. They had a meeting. And here's the thing. He's shared that, we're going to have probably pain before it's going to get any better. And that word pain is never a good thing. But he's saying that, right now, inflation continues to be at its highest level for 40 years, and the economy is still struggling. And so things are not back to normal. And so therefore, it's going to take some time. And he literally said it's going to take some time and that we're going to face some more pain. And investors absolutely didn't like that. So you're seeing declines across the board, all indices. Definitely a lot of people are selling on concern. And he's also saying that, inflation is probably going to stay at these levels for a little bit longer. And this was news that a lot of investors didn't want to hear. We wanted to hear that things were getting better, and that, inflation, what they're doing in terms of increasing interest rates, has taken its role, and so therefore, economy is getting stronger and labor markets getting, like, we were hoping for better news, but unfortunately it doesn't look like we got what we wanted, and therefore investors, definitely, you saw that negative, a lot of negative energy, which translates to a lot of people making sales. And with the financial markets, how that works is more people selling, then more people buying, and therefore the market is down. And you're seeing that across the board. Now, there is some good news, I will tell you. There are little glimmers of hope. There are certain areas, right? We've seen that with groceries, we've seen this with gas, little glimmers here and there where, inflation wasn't as bad as they expected, so the increase in cost of goods has improved a little bit, but certainly not enough. And again, a lot of people are still feeling a lot of stress, and what we're looking and we're being concerned about now is, what we don't want is a second recession in 3 years. And so we're actually very close to that, or closer than we were certainly 6 months ago. And so we're seeing that, and therefore investors are sort of nervous about that. So that's why the market's not doing so well. But let's segue, because there's more news to share with you. Okay. So I want to talk about this, and this I can see is could be some good news for a lot of people. So the IRS might be sending you a refund. Okay. For those of you who feel like you pay too much taxes, I'm guessing many of you do. Well, this might be welcome news, because $1.2 billion in relief in late filing fees is going to go to about 1.6 million taxpayers, because during the pandemic, a lot of Americans had to pay late penalties because they were filing their taxes late. In fact, that was like 1.6 million filers to is what the IRS is sharing with us. And those penalties amounted to over, $1 billion. I mean, 1.2 billion is a lot in penalties. So this is going to come in refunds and credits. So a lot of Americans who, well, if you had to pay your taxes late, between, for 2019 and 2020 tax returns, you might be getting a refund pretty soon. So definitely pay attention. Looks like that's going to happen very, very soon. So if you had to file taxes late, some good news for you. All right. Some other financial news that was big today that I want to share with you is coming out of Moderna today. So Moderna is currently suing Pfizer and BioNTech because, as you know, these are the two major sort of vaccine makers across the globe, in fact, and they're sort of really well known for their new vaccine technology. Well, it seems like, and I'm actually surprised that it came now and not sooner, but maybe it's just that time now. So Moderna's chief legal officer says that they believe Pfizer and BioNTech copied Moderna's patents and inventions. That these were, I guess, this new mRNA technology that Moderna uses. That they had filed patents for this in 2010 to 2016. And they're saying, well, all this time, Pfizer and biotech actually use their patents and have been profiting from it ever since. So we'll see how that unfolds. That's kind of a shocker. I think at this point, I think a lot of people across the globe are probably grateful that they had two options for vaccines. But I don't know. I'm kind of surprised by that. Greg, I mean, did you hear this news? Because I thought that was
No.
kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
that's definitely news to me. I did not realize that there was an actual lawsuit going on over that. I mean,
mhm,
I guess you never know what's really going on behind the scenes and anything as big as that, and it happened really fast. Maybe something
mhm,
did, but that just seems really strange that it's coming out now.
mhm,
But again, I'm just not knowledgeable enough in it to really know exactly what goes on with that. I mean, I'm just
mhm.
happy that we got the vaccine. So
Yeah, me too.
for
I'm
my
surprised.
end of it, but I understand there's billions and billions of dollars and lots of people involved. So if something happened, I guess
It's
I guess
big
we'll find
money.
out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's interesting that it's coming out now, and it seems like I feel like through this vaccine development, I always feel like the Pfizer one comes out faster. So who knows? I don't know.
yeah,
Um, but speaking of pandemic, and one thing we know that we're trying to get back to normal, right? Always trying back to normal. My kids are back in school. A lot of people are going back to work. We know that that's happening more and more. But locally here in Los Angeles, in fact, uh, believe it or not, Google here in Los Angeles actually had its biggest outbreak just recently. And so it got me thinking because and this is sort of news that's been coming out this week too. One of the things that we can do, they say is really really effective, is making sure that you clean the air. That there's HEPA filters, and so that's supposed to be a big thing that's been used on, like, I know Greg, you've talked about being on planes. They have this technology, and
Hmm.
hospitals have had this. But this I thought was super super fun, Greg. And then I was actually inspired to do this because it came on the news. Of course, it trends on Twitter all the time. But also, so my son's part of this new robotics team, right? And we are thinking about things to donate. And they have like a lot of kids, doing a bunch of technology stuff, and they need clean air. And they're in this warehouse working, and there's no filtration in there, like the stagnant air. So this is something that kids can do, and parents as well, is you can actually build your own Corsi Rothanol box. And what this is sort of a DIY air filtration system. Now, typically when you buy a HEPA filter, true HEPA filter, these things are pretty expensive. And they're actually not even as effective as if you built your own with really inexpensive parts, like a simple box fan, and these, like, these filters that you can buy at Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart and whatnot. And you can actually make these boxes for a lot less than $100. And so you just use these like MERV 13 furnace filters. And it was the brainchild of air quality researcher Richard Corsi and Jim Rothensaw, who is the CEO of a company called Tex Air Filters. And so they came up with this idea. But what's really fun is, I want to share this with you because on Twitter, people all over the world are making them and donating them to schools, to daycare centers, um, to churches, to, like, Boy Scouts are making them, and they're making them super super fun. And you're seeing all these different pictures. And so if you do a search for the Corsi Ranta on Twitter, look at how fun this is. And I thought, Greg, you would appreciate that, especially since we're going through, we're still in the pandemic. This might be inspiring for people watching.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, just seeing how they put them together. So it's kind of funny. Well, funny, I don't know, but a couple of years ago, there were some really major fires here just outside of Portland, Oregon, where we had the worst air in the world for like a week, like
Hmm.
the entire world. And because of that, smoke was getting in everywhere. So a lot of people here started doing that exact kind of thing where we would get the filters and attach them onto fans just to clean the air in the house.
Hmm.
And it was just like, a makeshift solution. This is much more in depth and probably better, but I love the fact, that people are coming up with ways to do that, and a much cheaper way, more inexpensive way to help clean the air. That's really cool.
Yeah, super cheap. I guess you can get, like, I was doing research. You can get a box fan from Walmart for like oftentimes under $20. And then these
Yep.
filters, I guess, are really inexpensive. And I guess because, like, and you can use regular duct tape or colored duct tape, which is what we're gonna do. And then, like, they're great for travel too. So, like, let's say you're going somewhere, and you can build as small or as big as you want. So I've actually seen people use like PC fans even to build mini, and they've gotten really fun where people will add, like, like little lights to them. And I guess this could be a and I but I will say this, is having kids in school right now, those of you who are watching, if you're thinking of what to, like, donate to your classrooms, because I will say that, that's a big thing. If you're a parent, like, donations is a big thing for your kids' classrooms and the teachers and whatnot. I will tell you, I did parent teacher conference this week for 3 kids. Every teacher wanted a HEPA. When I said, "Hey, would you like me to donate a HEPA?" Absolutely. So for parents out there, just food for thought. Clean air is universally loved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is always a good gift. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg, but I'm excited to hear from the cell phone business because my cell phone's getting old. I know a lot of people, and in fact, my best friend, Greg, this week, she was shopping at Costco, and someone stole her iPhone, and she was like,
Oh,
thank goodness, next month I could get a new phone. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find out from Greg what the options are so we can talk about this.
exactly. Well, that's the thing. I would say, unless your phone is stolen, don't buy a new one yet. If you want an iPhone,
Oh,
hold
okay.
off for a month, because that is what we found out this week. Apple finally released the date for the next big iPhone event, and it's going to be September 14th. So that is coming up, where we're going to get to see what the new iPhone is going to look like. And, we know it's going to be the iPhone 14. They don't say that's what the event is, but that's what the event is. So we're going to get to see that. And a lot of speculation, as always, when it comes to Apple, when it comes to the new iPhone, is what is going to be different? What are they going to do different? How is it going to look? I can say a couple of things that I think aren't going to happen. I don't think it's going to be foldable. I don't think they're going down that route yet. I mean, they could always surprise us, but I would be really, really surprised if they came out with any kind of foldable screen. I think it's still going to be sticking with the standard iPhone-ish, form factor. But what else could we see with this? That's what I kind of wanted to bring up here to everybody on the show, because there's speculation that, sure, we'll probably have some improved cameras. Most likely, that's always something that's an iteration that can be improved upon. Maybe some more augmented reality functionality as far as the actual software or operating system. Maybe we'll see some things that could come out there. But other than that, I want to know what people would want to see in a new phone. Like, what are the biggest features you would want to have? And I can tell you, for me, it's battery life. The longer the battery life, the better. The less time I have to spend charging that or going on a trip and then remembering, oh, I'm running out of battery. I want battery life to be like a real big focus. I don't know if that's what it's going to be, but that's what I would like to see. And I'm just curious September 7th, excuse me, I said 14th, September 7th, iPhone 14, September 7th. What is it that you would like to see? What would you want to see in a new phone? Like, what are the biggest features that you feel are lacking, especially if you have an iPhone? And that's why, Winnie, I know you are the iPhone expert here on this show, or the iPhone aficionado.
I'm a fan.
You are a fan. You're an iPhone fan. What's a feature that you think is missing on an iPhone? Is there anything?
Greg, I'm with you 100%. Battery life for sure. I do love that. I would love, folding is not a priority to me, so I will just pass on that. So I'm totally okay with it not folding. But I would like probably just, more. I want more camera. I want like an even more impressive camera. I will say I love iMessage. I absolutely love it. I love that it's on my laptop. I love that but I would love it to integrate a little bit better with my Android friends, right? So that's a little bit easier to use. And so I can actually, message them on my laptop and they can get it and we can still continue to communicate as effectively. But yeah, for me, it would be like, for sure, I would love to see more battery life. I'd love to see more, I think visually, I'd love to see it be even brighter and more impressive in terms of like if I decide to watch a TV show or a movie on my and I think I would like to see. I still like the I will say I like having the wired headphones, Greg, because sometimes it's just more convenient, it's more consistent, and let's be honest, it's a lot less expensive too. And sometimes I don't have to worry about always charging my Bluetooth headset. So I still kind of would like there to be that. And I would love to see, obviously, it go to USB-C in terms of charging. That to me is a big thing. Mm-hmm.
And the USB-C, I feel like, I don't know what's going to happen on this one in particular, but it's definitely going to be coming because of the fact of what's happening in Europe, where there's some regulations coming out where they want universal charging for all devices, which is, I think, great, because who wants a million different kinds of chargers that you have to use for everything? And USB-C is really kind of the standard now. So that would make sense that they should kind of have to go to that. And I know that's not something Apple ever wants to do. So that is a good point. That would be great. The headphone jack has always been that point of contention, because I know for a lot of phones, a lot of manufacturers, they want to get away from that headphone jack because it takes up space. They want to get rid of that. They want you to buy their Bluetooth headphones. Whether or not that's, going to stay, come back, that's always something that a lot of people are going to, have their arguments over. I don't think that's going to be coming back, but you never know. Yeah, I think
it's healthy. I heard that like someone told me, I think it was a doctor said that like having Bluetooth headsets in your ears long term is actually not good for you. And so ever since I heard that, I was like, okay, I'll go back to this.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you can still get them where you can plug into the lightning jack, but I mean, yeah. I think going back to that standard style of headphones, I think it's on its way out, but you never know. You never know, maybe. But yeah, you're probably right with the Bluetooth side of things, but that's where we're going on that. So some other things that, like we were talking about, the camera. So I would expect there to be some improvements on the camera, different functionality, and probably what we're going to see too is more of that cross functionality, more features along those lines, because that's really what they've been pushing in a lot of their big events over the last really 2 years, is how you can cross function between your phone, your iPad, your Mac, and how you can drag and drop and work within that ecosystem, and really honing in on the Apple ecosystem. Because at this point, the high end phones, the ones from Samsung in particular, and Apple, and the iPhone, it's getting down to, there's not a lot of difference in the really premium things. It's just, do you like this style or do you like that style? Do you like Android? Do you like iOS? So they've got to start doing some more things to stand out. And I think that's my prediction, is I think we're going to see a lot of that from Apple for this event, is just highlighting that, hey, well, you already have an iPad. Here's what we can do. Now, the other thing that we're probably going to get is a new Apple Watch. And that's where we could really see some pretty big innovation, because that's kind of wide open right now. You have everybody coming up with their watches, with their smart watches, but Apple's really been at the forefront for a lot of it. One of the rumors is that to add on to some of the health features, which is really where Apple is pushing a lot of that, is they could get a fever detector. This is something that, again, these are rumors, so we don't know for sure, but something that would let you know if you have a fever, maybe even before you realize it. So different ways that you can analyze your actual health. And I love that. Any kind of device that's improving on giving you more information about your health, about your medical, well-being, anything along those lines, or even predictive technology, like the one where it can predict, if your gait is off, something you wouldn't even notice. Maybe it's just incrementally off over time. It'll let you know, like, hey, something's going on here. Maybe there's something wrong with your hip or your knee. You could fall. And it'll give you that kind of information. Like, that kind of stuff is really, really cool to me and really important. So I love seeing those advancements on the health side of things. So that's what I'm kind of hoping we get to see with the watch side. The phone, we'll see what they do, because we'll see what they do to kind of wow us and show something different, because a lot of people aren't into foldables yet, but Samsung is at least showing something new and different. Whether everybody's into it yet or not, although I've been seeing some really good reviews with minus the price of the foldable phones. So since Apple's not quite there yet, what are they going to do to like stand out and do something different? They may just be able to say and be like, hey, we're still iPhone and you want us, so no, it doesn't really matter. But maybe we'll get some kind of wow factor in there too. So it's always exciting though. Whenever Apple does an event, whenever any of these big companies do an event, I love them, because you get to see what they're going to showcase. Even if they come out and they're flat, it's like, well, all right, they didn't have anything to wow us this time, but probably we will get to see something. Now, I'm hoping, and along those lines, seeing something for the wow factor, I'm hoping we get maybe a preview of Apple's augmented reality headset. I don't know if we're going to get that, but it's a really poorly kept secret that Apple is working on an augmented reality headset. And that means something not quite like a VR headset, but an AR headset, where it will overlay the world, overlay graphics over the world in front of you, whether that's a set of glasses, whether it's a full headset. We don't know. It probably might be just a set of glasses that would integrate with your phone, your watch, and all of that. I hope we get a preview of that, even though I don't think it's coming out for a while. That would be really cool to see what they've done with it and how they're looking at incorporating that. That's something I would like to see. And I don't know if anybody has anything else they would like to see from Apple on this. Regardless, it's going to be a good event, but September 7th. So that's when that's coming. Winnie, do you have anything else that you would want to see from that?
Well, Greg, absolutely. And I'm going to share with you. Vicky is saying that
Yeah.
she would love to see a new watch. She talked about
Yep.
that for sure. And she also said a new color. So I want to put that out there. I
Yeah.
agree with you, Greg. I think, there's been a lot of Team Android, Team Apple for quite some time, and they need to start to differentiate, right? To show what it is that will make you sort of switch sides or switch teams, if you will.
Yeah.
One thing I want to put out there too, I know a lot of people put off upgrading a new phone during the pandemic. And so I think a lot of people haven't actually purchased a new phone. Like a lot of people, like for example, when I was traveling all the time, I was getting a new phone every single year because I was part of the Apple refresh program. And I
Yeah.
didn't do that when I wasn't traveling as much during the pandemic. Now that things are starting to get back to normal, people are starting to get out there and they're traveling a lot more. I actually anticipate this to be a big, big year for Apple in terms of people like, doing an upgrade and switching to a new device. Because I think people are also looking for that hope, right? And so that kind of feeds
Yeah.
that. And let's be honest, after a while, your phone kind of gets a little old. And so I think Apple recognizes that opportunity. I think the fact that it can sense fever, that's awesome. I'm sure all of us would love to have a watch that can detect COVID, right? I mean, that'd be super cool.
Right.
And other like, viral issues that we might, but fever is like a good step in the right direction. I would also like to see that they continue to bring more of the phone features to the watch, because I think Apple has really done a great job in that area. And I can say that because my son, I got him an Apple Watch sans he doesn't have a phone. He just uses his watch as he can make phone calls, he can get texts, and it literally is standalone. It's very, and I think it's actually pretty productive already. I like to see them take that to the next level. But I'm with you. I think more integration, more seamless integration. But this headset glasses thing,
Yeah.
that could be game changing. I'm really curious about what it looks like. I hope it doesn't look like one of those like humongous things that you see with Meta. It's
Right.
like I just don't think that's gonna have a lot of like,
Yeah.
I just can't see
It's
a
gonna
lot of
have to look
benefits.
good.
Yeah, it's got to look
Yeah.
Apple. Apple's got to make it look cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I hope we get to see, just a preview of it, just to see what it is that they've come up with. Because the rumors always change that it's going to come out next year. Sometimes that's not always true, but if it is going to come out next year, they've got to start showing it a little bit. So I'm hoping we get to see something like that, even if it's just a little bit at the very end. But like, and coming, next year, show some of it. So
So
we'll
that's
see what they
September
do.
7th. Oh, September 7th. Perfect, Greg. That's our Wednesday. So we'll definitely, I can't wait to see what you have to share on that day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. So that's coming up September 7th. And then let's go on from that. So we're talking about phones. Let's combine phone with space. And this is the next news that came out yesterday. So T-Mobile CEO met with Elon Musk, Starlink, to talk about Starlink and T-Mobile teaming up. And that's what we found out yesterday. So T-Mobile has said that coming up next year, your phone, if you're on the T-Mobile service, is going to be able to connect to the Starlink satellites at least a little bit. So let's kind of explain this a little bit more. So for those that don't know, Starlink is what Elon Musk with SpaceX, all those satellites they send up, that's part of the Starlink program. That's designed to provide internet broadband coverage worldwide eventually. So no matter where you are, you're always going to be able to connect to one of the satellites, particularly for like rural areas where you don't have actual hardwired internet connection. This would be pretty big. It's a pretty, in that aspect, it's very good to provide more connectivity for more people, because lack of access to really broadband internet is a big issue. So that's what Starlink is doing. But what these new iterations, the new satellites, the second generation that they're going to be starting to send up, they're also going to add on these really specific long antennas that are capable of grabbing cell reception, meaning they can use that. T-Mobile would add that into how their spectrum works. So they've got their towers everywhere. Well, if you're not in range of a tower, they can tap into a Starlink satellite and still provide you service no matter where you are. So it'll start off with just basic texting is what they said. Eventually they'll work up to data and voicemail, or in voice service, but texting should in theory work no matter where you are eventually here with these satellites. And that's going to be part of your standard service. They said it's part of the regular packages. It'll just come with that for free. So that is a big, big move. That's a huge thing for T-Mobile to have in their pocket right now. There's other, I'm sure there'll be some other deals that'll come up to, with maybe Verizon. Verizon has something with Amazon. Amazon doesn't have satellites up, yada, yada. T-Mobile, though, is the one that's taking this kind of big move next year. So I think it's really good for, they're talking about just the safety side of things, being able to have connectivity, like say you're up in the mountains or you're hiking, and maybe that's just because I'm in the Pacific Northwest. That's a big deal. Going out, you get out of cell range really quick once you get up into, away from the cities. So having that connectivity just for safety reasons is going to be really important. Personally, I kind of like losing my cell service at a certain point, because then I'm like, okay, it's out of my hands. I can't answer any emails now, or I can't answer any text messages. But, that's just me being selfish. I can just turn my phone off. So I think this is a good thing overall. But I'm curious what you think, Winnie. I mean, I think that's good, getting more service.
I love it, Greg, to be honest with you. I know I'm
Yeah.
with you too. That's one of the things, one of the reasons I used to love being on cruise ships is because you literally had no service. So it actually forced,
Yep.
my husband to turn off his phone. But I'm with you because there's certain, like, I talked to you about this before. One of the things on my bucket list is to do the drive from California to Alaska one day, just to do the drive, right? And
Yeah.
they said there's pockets in the drive to Alaska where literally there's no cell signal, which can be a little unnerving, right? For someone who's from Southern California driving to the glaciers, you kind of want to have some cell signal just for like comfort. Like, I mean, I'm all for like nature and stuff like that, but I think in this day and age, I do like to stay connected if I want to, right? Like you say, Greg, you can always turn it off. But
Yeah.
I think this is a great thing, not only for us, but just think about all the other places that you might want to explore outside the United States and those more remote locations, right? I think it'll make it so that we can travel further and see more places because we will feel like we still have connectivity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're saying as long as you have, a clear sky ahead of you or access to the sky,
Cool.
you're not in a building or something, then in theory, you should be able to connect. And it's just to start off, it's not going to be a lot. Basic text messages should work as long as a million people are on it at the same time, which they
Mhm.
wouldn't be because you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
But yeah, eventually it's going to be full data, video. They said sometimes you may be in the right spot and you can do all that anyway. So
Wow.
it's going to be a learning pattern here as we get going. But those satellites are going up. They developed all that tech. So starting next year sometime, it'll start coming online. But yeah, it's pretty big.
It's
And
huge.
just the fact that they're going to include it in the service, we'll see how long that lasts. In some of the packages anyway, that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. Seeing some comments on here, yeah, coming through.
Sadiq?
So
Yeah, maybe we could jump in here, Greg, because Sadiq's been adding some comments.
mhm.
He says I have a preview for the price $2,000. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe Sadiq, if you want to expand a little bit and tell us what that means. And
Yeah.
Sadiq is also saying this means you don't lose the 5G connectivity on the way to the Everglades, which that sounds great, right?
Mm,
And then
yeah.
Robin says, we love Robin Stevens. Robin Stevens on LinkedIn Live is joining us, and she says, no cellular service makes for a good horror movie. It absolutely does, right, Robin? That's why I feel like imagine driving to Alaska and not having cell signal. I would be like, "Ooh," you know?
See, that's so funny because I can go 20 miles out of Portland and you can lose service in certain areas, just depending on where you're at.
Yeah,
But
but you're not
yeah,
in glaciers, like there's
that's
bears and stuff like that.
yeah. There's definitely bears on that Alaska highway. Um, oh, for the Apple AR glasses, $2,000. Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
did. I did see something like that. So that's going to be a real specific audience that wants those things. But yeah, so service eventually coming to everybody. I mean, I think just the internet side of things, the broadband, what Starlink is doing, I think is really good, regardless of what you think about the company or Elon. Getting more connectivity is always good for people, specifically in rural areas. So this is I think it's going to be good, and it's going to help people. And honestly, for emergencies, I mean, this could be huge.
Hmm.
You take a fall in the mountains or wherever you are, and be able to text somebody. That's pretty great. So we'll see. As it again, supposed to start coming online next year. So we'll know more as it goes forward. But pretty cool. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about. We did phones. We did phones in space. Now we got space. So this is coming up on Monday, and this is big. And I'm talking about the launch of the SLS rocket for the Artemis 1 mission from NASA. I'm going to explain this a little bit in case you don't know what's going on here. So the Artemis program is the overall program that NASA has to send humans back to the moon and then eventually onto Mars. So it's getting us back to the moon. You had the Apollo missions. In mythology, Artemis is Apollo's twin sister. So now we have the Artemis missions. And the first actual launch of the rocket, no humans on board, but everything set up as though humans would be. This is the exact rocket, the exact setup that humans would be on is going to be launching on Monday. So we're taking a look right here. This is great. This footage. So that's the rocket itself. So it's called the SLS. And on the very top of that thing is a capsule, the Orion capsule, where humans will be in. So all of that huge rocket, the however many tons of fuel is just to get humans up there, just to get that capsule at the very top into space. So the launch on Monday is going to be the first test of this. They're going to send it up. It's going to get into space. It's going to send that capsule up, and it's going to go around the moon and then come back to Earth in theory if everything works right. On board in that, they've got some mannequins, so lots of different testing situations. So they've got the mannequin in there with stuff to protect it from radioactive issues. That there's got one without it, all kinds of different testing things to make sure that humans would be safe when we do send the humans up for Artemis 2. But that is what we're going to see here on Monday. So it's a really, really big deal. Now, if it works, it's going to be great. It means we're on track-ish. We're still off a little bit, but we're on track-ish to maybe by like, say 2025 or so to actually get humans back onto the moon. If it doesn't work, it's going to be a big setback. So it'll be set back a ways. But that's why you send this up without humans on board to test that out. And there's kind of, a demonstration of what it's going to look like. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool what's going to be happening here. So I'm really looking forward to watching that. They'll be live streaming that. There's watch parties that are being set up all over the place. You may even have a watch party in your area. I'm going to watch it from home, but still really, really cool. And this is like that first step. So if this works, then we'll have Artemis 2, say in, I don't know, it's hard to say exact time frame, year or two, that will send humans up, and humans will go around the moon and just kind of orbit it for a little bit and then come back. And then Artemis 3 is where they'll send people to actually land on the moon. So this is that first step to get to that. And that's what we're going to get to watch there on Monday, is this thing go up. Ideally, there's always the chance that could be pushed back a day or two, depending on weather. But so far, it looks like it's a go for launch. And that's what we're going to get to see. I'm so excited for this. If you know me, you know I like space. You know I like seeing this kind of stuff. I want to go to space, so I like to see more of this happen.
I feel like Monday you're just going to be stuck on that sofa and not moving. And then
I'm going to be watching this.
And then your phone's going to be going off. And like, did you see this? And you're like,
oh yeah. I will definitely be watching it on Monday, assuming that everything's a go. And, hopefully everything goes fine and it'll just be a really big success, and we'll get to see where this goes. So this thing is actually going to go, Sadiq's planning to be the first Turkish American, and this capsule is going to go further. Like eventually when it does go, it'll go the furthest that humans have ever gone from Earth. So to go around the moon like that, and as far out as it's going to go. So it's a pretty big deal. This is a lot of years going into this, a lot of money going into this to see if this works. And we'll find out. We'll all find out whether it's a success or not there on Monday. But pretty
exciting.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. So I want to make sure everybody puts that on their radar for Monday, for something else to look forward to. So a lot of future stuff here today. Some not so distant, some a little bit further out, but definitely some cool things going on. September 7th, the Apple event. And that's as far as the new tech events, you got Apple September 7th. And then going on from there, you've got Google will be having one. Samsung will probably have another event. There'll be another Apple computer event. We're gearing up here where these are going to be happening more and more often. So lots of cool new tech coming out and lots of things to check out. So a lot of fun there. And if you have any questions or want any links to follow or to find out more about anything that I've talked about to you, just let me know. Hit me up. I'll tweet out some of this stuff, but definitely let me know if you have anything you want to talk about or anything else cool that you've seen. We always love hearing from everybody. So please do it. Thank you, Vicky. Yep. The Rocket Man.
Yeah, I love it.
I want to go up. I'll go on the Orion, but
so
I don't think I'm quite qualified, but that's okay.
You know what though? On Monday, if you guys are short and like you have an empty seat, I think you should speak out Greg. He'd be ready. I think he could get him like in the seat pretty quickly. So
yep, I'll do it.
Keep that in mind for those of you, who are in charge of this launch. Greg is available. He's volunteering for free.
Yep. Dear NASA. Yeah, for free. Yeah. I'll fly myself there. It'll be all good.
I love it. I love it. So cool.
Uh,
So cool. And great, Greg. I mean, this is great news. And I think we're gonna be back. We'll continue. I think the goal is to be back on Wednesday next week. And if that changes, we'll certainly let you know. But I think that's our
yeah,
goal, is right, Greg? We're gonna go back. And certainly, Greg, we definitely want to hear from you on the Apple launch. So that September
yeah,
7th, definitely let your friends know. Put that in the calendar. We're gonna get Greg's take on that. And of course, I'm gonna give you my take on the fan side of it. So it'd be really fun to hear from you on that. And I want to
yeah,
just say that, yeah, thank you so much for everybody. The comments coming in today were incredible and always such a treat. And if
yeah.
and before the launch on Monday, before we jump in and watch virtually with Greg on Monday, definitely check out Good Day LA too, because I'm gonna be on Good Day LA Monday morning. I think it's gonna be at 8:45, and you'll be able to watch on Fox LA, fox11la.com too, if you're not in the Los Angeles area. But
Nice.
just want to plug that
Heck
because it'll
yeah.
be fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, so many fun things coming up to watch and pay attention to. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's tuning in, who joins the show, who shares, who comments, and just has fun with us. I mean, Woody and I are having fun, and it's just nice to see everybody else is having fun too. So really, really appreciate everybody joining in.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greg, I gotta share this with you before we wrap up, okay? I got a comment and then someone said, "It looks like you guys are like the best of friends. Or do you guys just do that? Is it a pretend thing? We actually do get along this well." So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's not pretend, not just for show.
Yeah, we really are buds. So with that, I mean, I guess it's a wrap. Thank you so much. I want to say a
Yeah,
huge thank you to Vicky, huge thank you to Sadiq, huge thank you to Joshua and everybody else, and Robin, everybody who joined us today and shared their comments. And I know there's a lot of you out there who don't share comments, but I know who you are because you've been very kind about sending messages in as well. We thank you so much for being here and being just so thoughtful and kind and supportive of us. If you
yeah,
do share the show on social media, do me a favor, tag Greg, tag myself so we can properly thank you on our future show. We would love to see that. And we really appreciate you getting the word out because what we do is definitely something we enjoy.
absolutely. Yeah. Thanks everybody. And I think we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.